There is a moment in every legend when the audience must decide what to believe. Imagine a man whose name is carved into glass towers around the world, a man who walked a red carpet on television and later walked into the Oval Office of the United States one evening. A stranger might look at his face and see a businessman. Another might see a villain. Yet here is the true mystery that stops the scroll. One truth that feels like a thunderclap. He began as a builder of buildings and ended up building a storm that reshaped a nation. The question that lingers is, how did one life bend the course of so many others?
His story did not begin with gold. It began in a borough of New York with a stubborn need to be noticed. He was the son of a father who taught him to count risks in hard dollars, but not how to soften a wound. He learned to speak in the language of deals and concrete, but he lived with the ache of proving himself. Every empire has its failures, and his came in public and painful times. Casinos emptied in Atlantic City, projects overleveraged, headlines turned ugly. He faced bankruptcies, legal fights, and critics who said his time was over. Each failure felt like thunder in a heart that refused to stop pounding. He was mocked in late-night jokes and scorned by sections of the press that delighted in his missteps. Some opportunities slipped through his fingers, and every slip was catalogued like a ledger of shame. Yet beneath that catalog, something else hardened: grit, tenacity, the refusal to disappear. Then came the strange alchemy of luck and work that changed everything. He did not simply rebuild assets, he reinvented a brand. He turned his name into a product and sold the dream of success in gold lettering. He entered television with a swagger and became both judge and character. The Apprentice made his voice familiar in kitchens and boardrooms across America. In that room he practiced spectacle and authority. He mastered attention. He learned how to speak directly to people who felt unheard. On the campaign trail, he used that skill. He stood in stadiums and spoke with a cadence that felt like a confession and a dare. He promised to drain the swamp, to shake up a political order that many believed had failed them. The shock of victory in the election night was a thunderclap and a vindication for a man who had always bet on himself. Work and chance converged. He had won because he had become something larger than a businessman. He was now an instrument of a wider frustration, and he wielded it with theatrical precision.
If you feel inspired by this tale of reinvention and relentless, we'll press the like button below and tell us which moment surprised you most. If this story moves you, subscribe for more biographies told like stories.
What does a life like his leave behind for the world we live now, in a climate where media is a battlefield, where truth and story blur, and where charisma can reroute public policy? His presidency thrust questions into the open about immigration, trade, national identity, and the limits of political decorum. He changed how campaigns are run, how social platforms operate, and how leaders speak to the crowd. The ripple effects are not only political, they are cultural. Many people found in him a truth they felt denied others, found in him a danger that threatened norms once considered unassailable. Around the world, leaders watched and learned. The populist surge that followed in multiple countries took cues from his rhetoric and his style. The legal fights and investigations that followed his tenure raised debates about accountability and the durability of democratic institutions. He forced the nation to ask itself hard questions. Who decides the facts? How do we settle disputes between competing truths? Can institutions hold when popular trust fractures? The world now measures power, not just by policy, but by the ability to command attention, to bend narratives.
In the end, his life reads like a parable of modern ambition. It is a caution and a celebration wrapped into one. He reached heights few could imagine and drew lines that split families and nations. He changed the way politics feels and the way business sees fame. So where do we stand now? Do we judge him by the towers he built, the votes he won, or the division he exposed? Do we separate the man from the moment? Or does the moment belong to the man?
What would history write about him? When the dust settles, will he be remembered as a disruptive genius, a reckless showman, or something between? Those are questions, not for one voice alone, but for all of us. What do you think? Was he a necessary shakeup or a dangerous experiment? Share your thoughts below and start the conversation.